What's up, YouTube? It's your brother YT. Wake 'em up, back at it again with another video. Hey, let's get into these tenants from hell. Y'all know this gonna be a good one. Y'all sit back, relax, enjoy this video. Grab you some popcorn, some chips, or your favorite snack, and let's get into it, man. Let's go. But before we do that, y'all know the rules. Family, you already know what to do, and if you're brand new too, thumbs up this video so YouTube can push this content out. Smash subscribe to join the tribe, and ring the post notification bell as well. All right, let's go.
So welcome to season 1, episode 1 of Nightmare Tenants.
The way that these tenants turned my unit into a crack house is crazy.
A message stating that they had clogged the toilet with their own human feces and that we would need to take care of it, and that is their wording.
I don't care. Either you off, I'll give you a lock and a broken window to worry about, little shit.
3 months of not paying, and this is the mayhem that I walked into.
Did you not hear what I said? I don't have the f***ing money right now.
She thought she was renting to a family of 4, but shortly after they moved in, she realized that it was a mom, a dad, and 10 children.
10?
That my tenant hasn't paid me rent in about 2 years. She hasn't paid me rent. So she stopped paying me rent before the pandemic. And then, like many people, she used the pandemic as an excuse to justify continuing not to pay me.
Yes, we had to evict these folks. They stopped making payments. They had lived here for a good while, but they nasty. I'm just looking for a rat to come running out.
The first thing you notice when you walk in is not the destruction, but the overwhelming smell as you open the front door.
Excuse me, y'all. I'm about to get a little bit unprofessional right now. So this the type of shit I don't like.
There was human and animal feces left in the living room to greet you as you walk in.
Human and animal feces? And look what they wrote on the carpet too. Boy, I would have caught a case. I'm telling you. Man.
Come check out this rental. You can already tell it's going to be one for the books.
Landlords, brace yourselves, because tenants aren't always the victims in these stories. Sometimes they're the chaos. We're talking about tenants who turn apartments into zoos, run underground nightclubs and studio flats, or disappear with 6 months' rent and the fridge. Some leave behind trash, others leave behind ritual altars, snakes, or 47 cats. From flooding bathrooms to punching holes in walls for ventilation, these stories aren't just wild, they're straight up unbelievable. And yet, they happened to real landlords in real homes. So whether you're a landlord, a tenant, or just someone who enjoys watching the madness unfold from a safe distance, buckle up, because these aren't just bad renters, they're walking plot twists.
I don't care. Either you off, I'll give you a lock and a broken window to worry about, little shit. Hello?
Hi, it's Bryce. My property manager was driving by the other day, noticed a broken window.
My kids were playing soccer in the yard.
I totally get it. If it's fine with you, I'll have a repair crew come this week.
Sure, thank you.
No problem. We'll send you over the invoice once all the repairs get done.
Oh, hey, wait, sir. I'm not paying for this.
What do you mean? Who's gonna cover the payment?
It's your goddamn house. I think you should be the one to pay for it.
It was your kid who broke the window?
I don't care. We can just cover it up and leave it as it is.
You can't leave it like that. That's property damage. It was caused by you.
You're the one who wants to make your house look good, and you pay for it.
It's your responsibility to help out. If you don't...
I don't care. Either you off, I'll give you a lock and a broken window to worry about, little shit.
Hey, now look. There's a lot of people that's home owners. I ain't gonna call them homeowners. I hate to say homeowners if they still paying a mortgage, but it's a lot of people that's paying a mortgage, and they would tape the window up. Matter of fact, the neighbors next door to where my people used to stay, you know, the house I grew up in basically, they taped the window, put some duct tape on it, called it a day. Put a pillow in the window when it got cold in the wintertime. I don't know what that did. I guess they caught themselves blocking the air from coming in with the pillow. But yeah, a lot of people don't care. She said, you want it fixed, not me, basically, in so many words.
What? That is an eviction right there, for sure.
Excuse me, y'all. I'm about to get a little bit unprofessional right now.
Unprofessional.
So this the type of shit I don't like. I stepped out my comfort zone thinking that I was doing a friend of mine and her husband a favor and allow their stepdaughter, stepson, and daughter and son to rent a place because I was going off of their word, saying that they'll be responsible if anything happened. So, to make a long story short, this is how they left my motherfucking house.
Tore up.
I gave them a renovated property, and basically, she tried to complain, talking about the heat wasn't working. But that was BS. She just didn't want to pay the rent because Christmas was coming up.
People, this is how my tenant left. My father, my son helped move out that. She owe 7 months rent and look on the place. Look on the place. Pay roach, pay garbage everywhere. This is how she left it. That's so she that live. And when we come for the inspection, she vex when we come because she have about 10 people that live in here. Look, disgusting. Disgusting. Woman not even move with her bed because I pay roach. I pay dirty roach. I pay roach. Look there.
No, they got roaches.
I'm telling you, I'm glad she out our place. So we are trying to clean up now. We are trying to get out everything. This is where the tenant left. Yeah. This is where the tenant left. I'm not even going into the bathroom. I'm not going around there. So this is where the tenant left.
How you got 10 people living in there? They running a border house? How you got 10 people in that house right there? That's not no mansion. It's looking like it should be no more than 4 people in there max. She said 10. Boy, they got air mattresses everywhere or something. That was the only way they could have everybody stand there. Pallets, air mattresses. One person sleep this way, the other person sleep that way. I know the struggle. I know how it go, but 10 is crazy.
You not hear what I said? I don't have the fucking money right now. Hello?
Hey, Mike, do you have a few minutes? Just wanted to follow up on the rent.
Nah, I'm a little busy right now.
It's only going to take a couple of minutes, I promise.
Fine, what do you want?
I just wanted to see when you were planning to pay the rent. You've missed the last 3 months.
I already told you. You ain't getting no money until you get me a TV.
Mike, I've already ordered it. It's been shipped as we speak. I sent you the tracking number a couple of days ago. So, how do you want to move things forward with the rent?
I don't have the money right now.
But you've been saying this for the past 2 months. Things can't go on like this.
Did you not hear what I said? I don't have the fucking money right now.
I'm not asking you to pay all 3 months right now. I just need you to meet me halfway.
How the hell do you think we're going to do that?
You can pay me half a month, and then we can discuss a payment plan for the remaining amount.
How about you mind your own fucking goddamn
This gotta be a joke.
and leave me the hell alone?
She decides, I'm gonna do whatever it takes, make sure this home does not sell. This is my very first listing. I never even get to meet the seller. He's this big time investor who has corporate housing all over the US. He wants me to sell his townhouse that he's had for many years and that has a 10-year tenant in there. Now, he's never actually raised the rent once on this tenant. So she's paying like $1,200 for this really spacious, big, renovated 3-bedroom, 2-bath townhouse. Tenant was pretty cool until she found out how much rents are going for today, and then she became batshit crazy. She was kind enough to even let us take photos, but on photo day, come to find out all the furniture and everything in the home, even the kitchen, is covered with a blanket, and we were not allowed to touch it. So those photos went to waste. I paid my photographer, but I did not upload those photos. Then I go to coordinate some showings with her, and this lady gives me 30 minutes of her time to show 10 prospective buyers. During one of the showings, she decides to light up a cigarette. As she's lighting up the cigarette, I'm just looking at her with like general disbelief. What the fuck are you doing? You don't even smoke cigarettes, Angela. Anyways, I get the home under contract and sold, and on closing day, she decides to leave me a big mess at the home that me and my cleaners had to come and clean up. And honestly, if he had raised the rent each year or every couple years, I don't think she would have been so bitter when looking for another place because she would have known how much rents are going for today.
The first thing you notice when you walk in is not the destruction, but the overwhelming smell as you open the front door. There was human and animal feces left in the living room to greet you as you walk in. I felt like I'd stepped into the twilight zone as I looked around and couldn't find a visible surface that hadn't been spray painted with vulgarities. In addition to the spray paint, the carpets were saturated with urine throughout the house, and it's my understanding that the tenant had a menagerie of animals. After she got
They foul. When you read what they wrote on them walls, they foul. I don't get how y'all mad because y'all couldn't afford the rent. You couldn't afford to keep up with the rent, so you mad and you destroy somebody's property like this on purpose.
With her spray paint, she took a big hammer and damaged most of the walls.
Wow. I would expect a man to do that, not a woman.
The owner moved out of state over a decade ago. It appears the property manager hasn't even set foot in the property in at least that long. The person on the lease isn't the person who's been living there. Nobody knows what happened to the original lessee, but it's believed that she died and then a relative moved in. And it's the relative who moved in that did all of this damage after she'd been evicted.
That's pathetic.
She spray painted all of the appliances, the sink, the cupboards, the countertops, the pantry. She also took the stove and dishwasher, but that's probably pretty insignificant under the circumstances.
And a dishwasher. Oh man, and that's the house with the little bridge too. That's a nice house. That was a nice property. It was. Not it is, it was. Ah man, this will make me sick. It's gonna cost a good little grip to do the repairs on that one. She got her paint, get the floor redone. All of the carpet, the hardwood floor, all of that gotta get redone. Man, everything gotta get redone.
It's my understanding she had cats, but tragically, when she moved out, she left 2 of them in the bathroom.
No way.
It appears as though they've been there for quite some time.
Wow. She a terrible person. Childish too.
The stories from the neighbors and the owner are endless. The nightmare tenant contracted to have a new roof put on. She told the roofing company that she was the owner. The first time the owner heard of it was when the roofer started demanding payment. In addition to everything else, they did a horrible job on the installation of the roof.
I am truly at that point where I'm going to stop giving people chances and I'm going to stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. Let's get into this home. This home is 1 year old. You heard me right, 1 year old.
Year, not years.
So this was our first time coming inside our home. You can see the blinds are messed up, of course. That's always a common thing that we go through. But there are tons of splatter of some type of substance all over the walls in the living room. Remember what I said. They lived here for 1 year. Why does my carpet look like this? More splatter on the walls, writing on the walls. There's even Go-Gurt still on the floor. It's kind of like they just let their kids run wild and did not clean up after them. Just to give you a little bit of a backstory, we closed on this home 2022 in April. They moved in May of 2022. And I'm glad I did this video for you guys because I'm actually going to be showing this to the judge as well because you guys already know we are going to court. And as soon as I say the C word, all communication stops. But the funny thing is they live right next door. The insurance company placed them in our home for a total of 1 year because their home had fire damage. So of course we gave them the benefit of the doubt and we went against our better judgment and now we are here.
They out of their mind. They live right next door. These people allow you to stay in their residence due to the fact that your house had fire damage. And this is how y'all treat them or their house. And y'all stay next door. I can't even run. They know where you at. They like, yeah, they next door. I'm not worried. They next door. We gonna take care of this. That's what this lady like.
Of course, the insurance company says that we have to take them to court to get any type of money back from them, that they will not cover anything beyond the security deposit. That's not even the worst part. Wait till we get upstairs. All right, so as we come into this bathroom, there are pubic hairs all in the sink. The bathtub looks like it hasn't been cleaned in months. Now, this may be the only room that has normal wear and tear. However, the other remaining 95% of the home was completely disrespected on all levels. And then come to find out, they obtained a dog during their tenancy and did not tell us. Look at our deck here. Brand new deck, you guys. And then I had to take you guys back upstairs because you didn't get to see how nasty they lived in this home. I just had to show you guys one more time.
They trifling.
And this refrigerator was delivered on the day before they moved in. And look at the condition it is in now. And of course, roaches.
No.
You guys already know.
Oh, man.
We are going to court.
And this one is a doozy. This Prince Edward Island landlord says her rental has turned into a nightmare. When Tamara handed over the keys to her fully furnished home in Wheatley River, PEI in February, she thought she was renting to a family of 4. But shortly after they moved in, she realized that it was a mom, a dad, and 10 children, which was definitely not what they had originally agreed on. So she contacted the Island Regulatory and Appeals Commission, IRAC, which handles disputes in PEI between landlords and tenants. I don't know the rules there at all, but you'll see. This then began a months-long effort to evict the tenants, which has dragged on as she's watched her home slowly deteriorate. At one point, she provided the tenants notice so she could enter the property in accordance with IRAC policies, and she asked the police to accompany her because she didn't feel safe due to the aggressive dogs that were on the property. And when they arrived, there were knives stuck in all the door frames, I guess to prevent them from getting in. But they were able to get in, and that's when they saw what the place looked like. She said the first thing she noticed was the unimaginable smell.
Of course.
The downstairs had been
about 12
turned
of y'all
into
in
a
there.
greenhouse for growing plants. All the furniture, because this was a furnished home, had been tossed outside during the winter months. She found kittens in the bathtub. The floors were scratched to hell. The screen doors and all the screens on the windows were ripped. The kitchen was absolutely trashed. The carpets were filthy, and the hot tub was just no longer working. They also dumped several truckloads of manure all over the yard on top of where the well sits.
What?
Oh yeah, and they haven't been paying rent. The tenants were able to delay any eviction by appealing the decision, arguing that they couldn't find housing within a week after they were given 7 days to get out of the house. And they alleged discrimination in the rental market against large families. They also applied for a return of rent of $14,500, along with compensation for emotional distress in the amount of $12 million.
Wow.
This case is still ongoing with no end in sight, so I really feel for this landlord. And say all you want about tenant rights and all that stuff. These people don't deserve to have a home. They don't deserve to have their children, it sounds like. Children should be taken away. They can go live in a tent. Let me know your thoughts below. Let's go.
The way that these tenants turned my unit into a crack house is crazy. So I ended up evicting them after 3 months of not paying. And this is the mayhem that I walked into. And just look at this, the trash, the holes, the blinds. Just amazing on how they just left this unit this way. And how much it's going to cost me to actually clean up this mess. So this is the living room, and then as I pan around, this is the trash that was left in the living room that I have to pay for them to haul away. Then going into the kitchen, just more trash, more things left, crazy. And going through here, it was so devastating to realize what they had done. And I think this is in retaliation because after the first 2 months of not being able to pay, I was not willing to wait a third. But of course, the process takes long. And what ends up happening is they end up getting more time for them to be served and they actually move out. And they went ahead and decided, okay, let's tear up the unit in retaliation because we couldn't pay the rent. Ain't that stupid?
Right.
Here goes the AC control unit. That has to be replaced. Then what bothered me the most is this bathroom. How can you destroy a toilet to look like this? The whole toilet has to be changed. Now, I've been going back and forth and I'm trying to see what the lawyers can do if after calculating the repairs, if I can go after them in small claims court to, get reimbursed for paying for these damages because this stuff was intentional.
For sure.
There was missing cabinet doors that ended up in one of the rooms. Just coloring on the doors. All doors have to be changed. Front door looked like it was kicked in. Just total chaos in how they left this house.
See, I got a friend who does real estate. He does fix and flips. He buys houses from the land bank, fixes them up, rehabilitates them. Then he gets tenants in them after he's done, right? And he had something like this happen with him. He had a tenant that completely destroyed his property. They were in there for like 2 or 3 years. By the time they moved out, all of the rent money that he got from them, he had to spend on repairs. So he either broke even or took a loss. I remember I wanted to do some fix and flips, but that made me be like, man, I don't know. Is it worth it, really? I would hate to have to deal with that. Me, I would probably be in jail. I don't know how I would handle that. That's a tough situation right there, man. I don't understand why people do that. You cannot afford the rent. I'm going to say it again. You can't afford the rent, so you destroy the property. That got to be a mental illness. There got to be something wrong in your brain for you to think, really sit there and think like, hey, I'm about to destroy this property because I can't afford the rent. I'm mad. You got the victim mentality. You're the victim? Makes no sense to me.
And just look at it. Just look at it. There's no words for what they did. This looked like gang signs on the wall. There goes this missing cabinet from the kitchen. And tell me this ain't shit on the wall. This got to be shit on this wall.
Trifling.
Tell me what is growing in this windowsill. This windowsill is ruined. Then, now look at this ground. Look at this floor. These are brand new flooring that was put in before they moved in.
Horrific tenant update. So I've got an update on one of my tenants that hasn't paid their rent for 4 months. So those of you who have been following my journey with one of my tenants who has been an absolute nightmare, it has been an important update. And for those of you just tuning in and seeing this, then check out a couple of my previous videos and you can see the background of what has been going on with this tenant. So let's start with some of the good news. My insurance company have finally paid out the money which is the backdated rent the tenant should have been paying, and the insurance company have now paid it to my managing agent, who have now paid it to me. Good news is, thank God I took out the insurance, because now we are financially the same and not worse off. And the tenant is still in the property, they're out of tenancy, and they still haven't paid a penny for 4 months. Thing is, the courts have been instructed, and now the insurance company are heavily involved because they're now paying out of their pocket. They are going to really up the ante now and put on an immense amount of pressure on that tenant to either leave the property ASAP or to pay the shortfall and backdated money that they've had to cough up to pay me. Now there is a backlog with the courts of around 5 months, which is an absolute nightmare. But because they haven't paid their rent and they're refusing to, they're going to go to the bottom of the list for the council housing. They're going to get CCJs on all their files, which means they're going to be financially ruined for quite some time for either trying to rent somewhere else or especially not to buy somewhere. And I'll also stop them from getting any form of real lending like loans, credit cards, car finance for the future. Not just that, the CCJ, which is a county court judgment, more than likely be for all the court costs, which is estimated to be around £14,000. Plus all the months in arrears that they've not paid will go on top of that. They will have to pay all of that back plus interest. Who in their right mind would go through all of this just to be spiteful to a landlord that hasn't done anything to them? Anyway, to incentivize them, I told my managing agent to feel free to tell them that I am no worse off financially and they're only damaging themselves. Hopefully that's enough incentive for them to just leave and for us to be able to sell the property and everyone gets on with their life. If you as a tenant or are a tenant, do you act like this? What about landlords? Is this putting you off buying properties now to rent out?
So welcome to season 1, episode 1 of Nightmare Tenants, featuring Caitlin Poor of Atrium Health and her partner Kathleen Kennedy of DHL Logistics. So my husband and I, we have a rental property, and it's the home that we brought our kids home in from the hospital, and it's the house that we had planned to actually give to one of our children in the future. Our old tenant of 2 years was moving out, and we actually had a great experience with him. Anytime he had a concern, it was always handled and addressed promptly and professionally by my husband. And, you know, ultimately we still have a good relationship now. So this is where we enter Miss Caitlin and Kathleen. They moved in on Super Bowl Sunday and were only in the property for a week's time. When they moved in, they were informed that there was some paint touch-ups that needed to be completed in the kitchen just due to the removal of the popcorn ceiling. Ultimately, they were unhappy that this didn't happen in the expected timeline, but did express just how grateful they were for my husband's overall communication, especially because they had apparently had a bad experience with a landlord in the past, which should have been foreshadowing maybe. But once they moved in, they had an extremely nitpicky list of demands in their words. They stated that if we did not meet their demands, that they would be moving out. Some of them were a little bit odd. They sent a message stating that they had clogged the toilet with their own human feces and that we would need to take care of it. And that is their wording. And the wording itself kind of just gave me weird vibes. But regardless, their concerns were addressed. They were told that if they wanted to move out, that we would break their lease. But ultimately, they were upset that they weren't going to get their February rent back in spite of the fact that they were living there in part of February. And they said that they would consult with legal counsel and get back to us as to whether or not they were going to remain in the property. They proceeded to use racial slurs, including the N-word, at my husband. So ultimately, he had a bad feeling about the tenants, and he stated that he was going to go out there and just do an inspection on Friday to make sure that everything was the way that it was supposed to be. So he went out on Friday, everything was in place, and fast forward to Monday, we get a call from the neighboring unit. We have a great relationship with all of our former neighbors. So they gave us a call, and they informed us that there was water damage in their home that was apparently coming from our unit.
Oh, no.
So then 2 minutes later, I get a call from my other neighbor. She's not in the neighboring unit, but she gave me a call and she said that there's something going on at our house. There's water all in the street. She said she thought it was because it was raining, but she noticed that it was coming from all around our property. And so I asked her if our tenants were still there. She said that they left On Saturday morning, she said that a moving truck woke her up, and she said that they had a crew of like 20 people, and they were basically hustling to get out of there quick, and so she knew something was going on.
Right.
So we get in the car and we head to our old rental property, which is about an hour and a half away from where we live, and we get a call from the HOA, and they told us that they suspected that there was foul play. So as we're pulling up to the property, we see water just covering the parking lot. There's water on the outside of our house, water surrounding the property, coming out of the side paneling. The fire alarm is going off. We open the door and there is water everywhere. The entire first and second level is completely covered with water. It's seeping through everything. And basically the ceiling is caving in. So the fire department had to come to shut the alarm off, and they pointed.
Wait. I'm gonna let her finish, but she said water on both floors, and the fire department had to come out. These people were in a rush trying to hurry. She said they were only in there for a week. They were only in there for 1 week and caused all of this, and they're making racial slurs. That's pure evil. Those are some evil, sick people. Some demons. That's demonic behavior right there, man. They wanted the repairs done quicker. Y'all only been in there for a week. Y'all only been in there for a week. Sound like they had an ulterior motive from the jump. Something not right with them. Mentally. They just sick. They sick. Some sick, evil people, man. To destroy somebody's unit like that. I'm gonna let her continue, but this one making me mad.
Where Caitlin and Kathleen had actually unscrewed the toilet and damaged the pipe to where they could tell that it was intentionally done. We saw where both of the pipes on both toilets were destroyed, and the water was turned on, so basically it would run and flood the place. So they completely destroyed our home to the point where it is uninhabitable. And not only that, but the neighbor's home is now destroyed. And, you know, me personally, I'm not understanding how anyone could do this to someone's home, especially when my husband was nothing but accommodating and professional with them.
Lock them up.
And it really, honestly, just takes it a step further when Caitlin, who works for Atrium as a PA on emergency, would think it was a good idea to create a safety hazard and a fire hazard in a unit attached to other homes where there are children and elderly people living literally next door. And then following the incident, when we called them regarding the flood, they stated that they were not going to talk about it and that they just wanted to return their keys back. So obviously, audacity is running at an all-time high on this Tuesday, and it's in moments like these when I'm reminded that while God is real, demons are too, because this is nothing but demonic behavior to intentionally vandalize someone's home to the point where we can no longer enter the property, let alone have somebody live there. All of the time and the money and the investment is, gone and wasted. This was truly an act of pure evil, and, these two people really need to be held accountable for their actions.
Yes.
And it's truly a shame that anyone could really do something like this. On our end, we have filed a police report. We have contacted their employers. We'll continue to keep you updated as we document the progression of all of this. We've, of course, contacted our lawyers. It's an unfortunate and an unnecessary situation. And while it's a huge hit, we're just trusting in God and remaining positive. And we just ask for your continued prayers during this time. But ultimately, we know that everything will work out for the better. So I hope that your Tuesday is happier than ours is. But that's it for season 1, episode 1. Catch y'all on episode 2.
The title of this video is Tenants from Hell. Those tenants really came from hell. I'm telling you, those were demons. All of them. The way they destroyed those homes. Especially the last one. Those two, they flooded the unit. All of them. I'm going to say all of them. All of them did some crazy stuff, man. They all need to be held accountable. At least sued. These landlords deserve to get their money back. It should be on their file. So no other landlord will have to go through this. This should be noted some type of way, right? It should go on their credit reports or something. Their background check, their criminal background check, it should be on there. They should have a case. Listen, are you a landlord or have you ever been a landlord? If so, have you ever dealt with anything similar? If so, I would like to see that in the comments. I know I got some landlords that watch this channel or some people that are into real estate, right? So I want to hear it. Peace to my Hebrew fam. Shalom. I will catch y'all on the next one. I appreciate y'all for watching.